Hey everyone, Derek here with some early impressions of the SNES Classic, which I actually got to see when I went to New York in order to try out Nintendo's E3 lineup. And during this same visit where I got to try Metroid, Super Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2 Salmon Run, and Fire Emblem Warriors, they eventually brought out the SNES Classic. Now, I didn't actually get to play the system. In fact, I didn't even know what games were included until I saw the packaging. I had heard from Andre that morning that the SNES Classic had been announced, but I had no idea what was actually included. So seeing some real classics in there like Super Mario World and Super Castlevania was really cool, but then there's also the cult classics in there like Secret of Mana and Earthbound, as well as Star Fox 2. That was mind-blowing to me as I was going in and just seeing exactly what was included in the system. That was so cool to actually see. And as far as the system itself, of course, it is very tiny. It fits comfortably in my hand. I would say it's about the size of the NES Classic, maybe slightly bigger, but it still feels extremely light, and it has a great feel to it overall. And just like the NES Classic, the buttons work as they did originally. You push the power button up to turn the whole thing on, and I would have to assume that the reset button is to go back to the main menu, just like the reset button on the NES Classic. However, I did ask to see if there was a way to do that from the controller, since there was no way to do that on the NES Classic, and I know that's something a lot of people wanted. Unfortunately, they were not able to give me an answer about that at that time, so that's something we'll still have to just keep an eye out for, but fingers crossed that they'll actually think of that. Otherwise, it has a flap on the top for where the cartridge would go in, but of course that doesn't actually go down, and it's the same for the eject button. It's there, but it doesn't actually move or anything like that. It's more for aesthetics. On the front is where the controller ports are, but rather than have them out in the open like the NES Classic, now they're hidden behind a flap, so it looks more like the actual system when it's closed. But all you have to do is just lower the flap, and there's the ports for your controllers, and they're the exact same ports that the NES Classic had as well. So it's very likely that the SNES Classic controllers will work with the Wii controllers too, so they'll have some functionality beyond the Classic. Otherwise, what you'd expect to be here is certainly here. It's light, it's easy to move around, and they did extend the controller cord by about 2 feet, and we stretched out, and it's not the longest, but it's definitely longer than what was before, and very likely a lot more comfortable to work with this time around. So unfortunately, like I said, I did not actually get to play the SNES Classic as much as I would have loved that, but as far as the actual design and how it all works and how it all looks, everything feels perfect. It is a great recreation of the original system, and I hope that this thing will actually have a decent production scale. Nintendo did say they're going to try to do better than they did for the NES Classic, but that's still very much left to be seen. Otherwise though, this thing is great. It's just you're going to want to snap it up as soon as possible, because otherwise the scalpers will get it and it's going to be a pain in the neck to get. But I'm impressed with it. I want one so much. But we're going to have to wait and see exactly how hard that's going to be. Probably pretty hard, but on the whole, great first impressions, and I can't wait to actually play it. But that's everything I can actually tell you about the SNES Classic right now. But of course, we'll have even more information about the SNES Classic as soon as possible, and as soon as more information comes out. So thank you guys for watching, and of course be sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on the SNES Classic and other things gaming as well. Until next time, bye.